Hello, it's Conversations once again, and we're going to look at pre-seasons checks. Yes, you may be wondering. A lot of us, when it's about time, about this period, we go out there, buy things, get ready, and move. But do you bother to buy yourself a Christmas gift of good health check? It's important. We'll be discussing that. What should we be checking? What should we be talking about? How should we go about our health? And we have the regular people in the house, and of course, joining us this time around is our nurse as well. Let's get to introduce ourselves first. I'm Elizabeth. What's your name?
My name is
As if
Chukwumaka.
I don't know.
Okay, I know, but you already know. She's
My
the
name is
newbie.
Tanisha. My
Hmm.
name is Maimuna Umi Abdullah, aka Coach Didi.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet, and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
If from my voice, you can actually tell that the preseason check should actually start from me because I'm already spotting a bit of the dust in my throat. One should actually, and Chukuma has been trying to do some, crude prescription for me with ginger and all of that.
Well, we are used to it in Nigeria. So,
Hmm.
um, at this period of time, what I always advise people to do is when you're going home, prepare yourself for emergency
True.
because emergencies that you can handle in your house before, because most of the villages don't have adequate medical center,
Hmm.
and most of the villages don't have the place you could get trusted drugs. So if you know the things that are very common that you could arrest, you could get them from here. I know some of people in pharmaceutical business. This is a good time people come to patronize them because
Hmm.
there are sicknesses that are very common with this period. The dust give lead to catarrh, allergies, and the rest of them. So instead of you having problems with those, you could get some things protecting yourself in that area. There are some also the lots of eating thing that people do during Christmas could open you up to diarrhea or could open you up to some kind of sicknesses that you may not stomach upset. So you can get things that are related to those ones and prepare yourself. And aside that, there are also some kits you might get to prevent some unforeseen things happening around you. So if you check yourself, know what your body needs, get them. It's important.
Have you had any kind of experience?
So for me, I have allergies. I am asthmatic. In fact, I went to go and check my own allergy because a professional told me, "Oh, you can't have more than one allergy." But I'm like, look, if this carpet here, if you sweep this place and I'm here, I don't have my medication. I am gone. If I cook with oil, let's say palm oil, it's a problem. If the AC is on overnight, I wake up in the morning, I am gone. If I am laughing too much, I start
And
coughing.
you
So
like
don't laugh.
laughing.
So don't laugh. So don't
I
laugh.
start coughing. So I have all these things, but what happens that in December, this period, it amplifies. So before I leave the house, even with or without traveling, I have to use Seritide. That's some kind of inhaler to open my lungs and just allow me to have a good day. Then I must go around. I have inhaler, I have Ventolin in the car, I have one in my bag, I have one in my shop, I have one at home, just to be sure that if anything happens, I am on the safe side. So if I'm traveling, definitely I'll carry this one. Then I still have like medications I use, anti-allergies, loratadine. I don't know the brands. Anybody, there are different brands out there, right? But my own is the first thing I look out for is I don't want brands that make me drowsy. Even though there are times that when I start having the cough and catarrh, I need to sleep. So I take maybe Actifed or something, but generally I don't like drowsy medication. So really I try to protect myself. Or my mother will call, don't sleep on the floor, don't do this, don't do that. The problem is the weather is confusing. It's hot, it's
And cold at the
cold,
same time.
it's confusing. And honestly, sleeping at night is like, okay, are you going to leave the AC on, or are you going to sleep on the floor because of all this? So sometimes I used to pin Okoro, I'll sleep on the floor, and in the next 2 hours, it's a
It all
problem. My
comes, right?
nostrils are blocked because when you sleep on the floor, you get some sort of comfort, even with the duvet there, but with tiles you get that comfort, but I forget myself and sleep off. I need only 2 hours and my nostrils are blocked. So for me, then imagine when you now travel home. Those places, they're not like Abuja that you have trees, you have rivers, so you have nature giving you the cool. So you have to protect yourself. You have
So
to cover
I'll
up.
skip the nurse and get to find out from the coach Didi first. So what are your, reaction, medically speaking about this period?
Honestly, I think for me it's just normal. I don't have anything in particular, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything.
Oh, you don't have any allergy?
No, I don't.
Wow, lucky you. You know, now we're traveling home. I want us to look at some of us are living with diabetes. Some of us are living with one ailment or the other. As a medical practitioner, what would you advise us to do as a pre-season checks? Especially the weather is changing. What do we need to do? And if we need to travel, what do we need to do?
Okay, thank you very much. I was opportune to help educate my women. I deal with the pregnant women.
Okay.
That's my area of specialty.
Okay.
I was
So
going to actually
yesterday-
ask you that again.
Yes, yesterday when you called me, I said, no, I must be here because that was the health education I gave today. There were like 96 women
Wow.
that came for antenatal. That is the least population I've had since I've been posted to that particular place. And I said,
That's the
the
smallest.
smallest.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
the only person there with my matron. And I said, how many of you are traveling for this season? 53 of them raised up their hand. And the 53 of them were almost due. In fact, some of them are close to their EDD. And I told them, okay, when are you traveling?
They want to go and burn on the highway.
When are you traveling? 36 week plus. When are you traveling? In fact, one of them put to bed that yesterday.
Ah,
And some said, my husband said I should leave on Friday, Saturday. I said, really? Have you considered the risk of you traveling compared to what you are about to face in the labor room? She said, no. My grandmother said if I come here, they will use a bow and she will deliver with ease. I said, wow. Then why did you come for registration in the first instance? She could not say anything. How many of you have come to meet us as your healthcare provider to give you your prenatal vitamins, to give you your record? At least you snap these things or you photocopy them. Take them alongside with you
as you travel.
as you travel. So in case I am not there, you can come here, can speak. In fact, in any kind of place you find yourself, you must surely see a healthcare practitioner, whether through auxiliary or well trained. They say no, we are still going to charge them money to make photocopy.
Ewo.
That's what we face in the primary healthcare system. And that's okay, no problem. We are going to photocopy for you free of charge. But before you do that, hold on. Let me tell you the risk involved. Scientifically, it is not proven that if you travel, you have miscarriage, especially when you're 34 weeks and above. But you run into things like deep vein thrombosis or varicose vein, whereby the veins begins to dilate. Blood vessels, some will start clotting inside some of those veins. And you stand up, you have like atrioventricular shunt, whereby you're struggling to stand and your legs are shocking you. And I asked them, how many of you can afford to buy compression socks? Compression socks is very expensive now in some places. They say no. The only
So
thing,
if they wear the compression socks, they can
socks,
travel
yes,
for a
you
long
can
time.
travel for a long
Okay.
distance. Even as you are, you can make use of those compressor socks.
Okay, even as I'm not pregnant.
You're not pregnant.
If I'm
All
going to
of
sit
us,
for
we
a
have
long
some
time.
shocking sensation naturally when we travel by road. So if you can get these compression socks, it's fine. Then you tell the driver, please hold on. Let me take a walk. Let me exercise myself. And I usually
In this place of
advise,
insecurity.
Driver.
Insecurity.
whether you're going by air or by road, the truth about it, I'm particular about the pregnant women. Your baby will not jump out of your stomach because the progesterone and the uterus are there to guide the baby. But the risk that I am so particular about are for people that have complications. Some people have nausea, and some people they easily get hypoglycemia. So most of these are drivers that are
What is that in English?
hypoglycemia, that's low sugar
Low
level.
sugar
Okay.
Some driver, by the time you tell them, please driver stop, let me buy, so oh madam, you too they disturb. So it's better you
You're a
get
pregnant woman with pee. Every 1 hour you want to go and pee.
yes.
So why do you need to travel?
me, I told them, just hold on. Once you put to bed, you can make your journey. But for now, it's not really a necessity. And it is very necessary if all public transport, they can have this your first aid box. It's a necessity. Even in case of accident, which is an unforeseen circumstance that you cannot really predict. But once this first aid board is there, you have something like a diclofenac tablet, you have something like
Diclofenac tablet.
Tablet.
What does it do?
it helps to
Pain.
ease pain. Maybe
Pain.
you hit your body on something.
Pain
It's a
reduction.
non-anti-inflammatory steroid drugs. But some people that have ulcer, they cannot make use of it. So you can replace it with either ibuprofen. Both people with ulcer and people without ulcer, they can take it. So diclofenac
You
should
take
be
it
there.
with food.
If you have ulcer, you don't need the diclofenac tablet. You
Okay.
take the ibuprofen.
But
And-
when do you need food?
You don't really need food, but for most drugs they'll just tell you take food. Yes,
Okay.
it's a necessity. Then you need to have a promethazine, the normal language, avomine, so that in case they are stopping to buy fuel and the smell, you instead of it to start throwing up, you can just take that avomine. Then you have your spirits there, you have your cottonwood swab with you there. Injections are actually not advisable to be there because inside the bus you might not actually see any medical practitioner.
To
But
give you the
like
injection.
me, if I'm traveling, I like having 1 or 2 injections inside my bag in case there is a way I can help on my way traveling. And for these pregnant women, I advise you, if you are a pregnant woman that has complication, like twin pregnancy is a complication. Yes,
Twins.
yes,
Oh, for real?
it's a complicated pregnancy. Yes,
Yeah, it's not straightforward. It's not normal.
it's not a normal pregnancy because the children is not one particular fetus that is feeding on you. So your blood level cannot be the same. There is 2 beings that are thriving on you. Like in primary health center, we don't conduct twin delivery. We had to refer you to a secondary facility. And some of these people traveling, they are going to places that they don't have good facility. And if you have what they call placenta preview, whereby the placenta is attached to internal ox where the baby comes out, I'll tell you, please, you can't travel. I will not even give you the referral letter. And if you must travel, you will sign against medical advice. You left at your own will. So women that usually comes with severe vomiting, nausea, I don't permit you to travel. Then before most of the women travel, we run some tests for them. Even you, as a non-gravid woman, somebody that is not pregnant, you're supposed to go for your blood pressure check.
Okay, I was just going to ask you, what should I be checking before I
Yes,
travel?
you're supposed to go for
Is
your.
it glucometer?
Your-
You can have it at home now.
So is how many Nigerians have it?
Oh, that's true.
Okay, so I should go and check. You know, some of us have this digital one, and when you check, it will tell you 200 over 120, 217 over 50. Then you go to hospital, they tell you it's okay.
Because we have to make. There's a way we make the calculation.
They do manual.
Aside that, there's a posture you need to sit to get your blood pressure checked, and there's this posture you sit and you get it higher. If you don't sit at when you're using that digital one, because when you go to do the manual one, doctors will position you very well and straighten your hand, and they'll check it. But you know, in the one we do at home, we do it at will. We just don't know how to position
Sometimes,
ourselves well.
even if it's the wrist one, you're cooking and you're tying it and you're doing your thing.
Before, if you do your blood pressure check and it's high, by right you're supposed to rest for a period of 10 minutes. And how do you check your blood pressure? Are your foot level to the floor? The cup you're using, is it actually your size? And you know, when you buy this blood pressure, they don't allow you to check the cup inside. The cup that fits my hand cannot fit his hand. Then you see him struggling, and the pumping action of the blood tends to become faster. And it's not as if it's hypertensive, but just because the cup is not
It's tight.
sizing, yes. So the blood is trying to push itself through the artery, and definitely the blood pressure will be high. And by the time he gets to the hospital, we use the right cup for him. You see that the blood pressure will drop down. And before you do your blood pressure, do you rest? You cannot just come back from so I do my check And you gotta
Like after gym.
it will be very high, I assure you that. And if you're having palpitation, you're worried, you check your blood pressure. Definitely, it will be hard. The blood pressure is going to read above 180. And you're like, my village would have started following me. No, 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 no. You have to rest.
This thing you are saying is true because last week, right? My mom, she's always having high blood pressure. Every time, high blood pressure. I don't know why it's cause I give her the high blood.
I'm sure it's you another.
It's possible. So one morning she calls around 8. She calls. My brother was there, so I put the phone on speaker. We're talking, and she goes, "Oh, I just want to hear your voice. I just want to know you are okay." She sounded like somebody that is about to die, and I'm like, "Madam, what is it?" Because sometimes I just call her by her name. I said, "What happened?" We have that relationship. And she goes, "No, my heart is beating. The way I'm feeling, I just want to hear your voice in case anything happens to me. People should love each other. This one, that one." I tell my brother, I said, "Take the phone, carry on, we go. I get food to cook." So my brother goes and entertains her. They talk and everything. I did not call her back. Around 7 p.m. after I finished with my day's work, because I knew that this cruise, I'm not catching it with you. So I called her. I said, "Madam, what happened to you?" She said, "I'm fine." I said, "Start talking." And then she goes, "Oh, how that time that she was feeling like that, she knew she had low. She felt like taking something sweet. She was home alone." I said, "Keep going. You're cutting the conversation. Go straight to the point." Then she said that she wanted to take her high blood pressure drugs. She started feeling weak, so she decided to go and check. Okay, then when she started feeling weak, she now called us first before going to go and check her blood pressure. When she went and checked her blood pressure in years, she hasn't had it that low. So it was lower than whatever she has experienced in years.
The drugs have
So
crashed into high
if she had taken
tension.
that drugs, she would have died.
Exactly.
But she did not take the drugs. She tried to call us first. And the way I was sounding made her to go and check her pressure first before. Okay, let her check. If it is too high, then she will take the drugs. So she went and checked. It was too low. So she did not take the drugs and then she was fine. She just bought a bottle of Coke, took it because of the sugar content and the gas content, and that was it.
When you're on antihypertensive drugs, regularly you're supposed to be visiting your doctor every 4 months so that they can review you.
She's a nurse. She's
No,
actually.
so no,
Do you know that even
that's
we
not what
as a
she's saying.
medical practitioner,
It's true. You need another
No.
person.
So frankly, when it has to do with the blood pressure thing, you have to be constantly visiting, because what you said about your mom has happened to a whole lot of people.
yeah.
I'm not speaking as a professional, but I'm speaking based on what I have read, so that the viewers would understand. I try to read a lot about it based on experiences of people around me. Sometimes people think that this blood pressure drug, when you take it, you just continue taking without
For life.
checking. You check to a point, because there may be time that your level of pressure would have been normalized by the drug, and if you continue to take, that's why it comes in dosage. It could give you a 30-day dose. Then after doing the 30-day dose, you check again to know what should be. So if the milligram you're taking is 10 mg at the first 30 days, the doctor could recommend that you do 5 milligram to continue to monitor you. But in this case, people start as it was in the beginning, socially be to the end.
Exactly.
And it has some effect on the health. So it's always encouraged that people go to the healthcare facility to ask and get informed about it.
You actually make a point, because a particular lady, when I was talking about this, told me her experience. She was on high blood pressure medicine. She went on holiday, just like a lot of people are going to go on holiday. She wasn't stressed, she was resting, but she continued to take her drug. Suddenly she started feeling really low, and she wanted to continue with the drug, but somebody told her to, let's check your BP. They checked, it had gone, instead of high, it had gone too low. So the doctor, in fact, she passed out on a boat cruise. They took her to hospital. It was there they found out. So they asked, and the doctor said, "You're on BP drug?" She said yes. He said, "You've been on holiday, you should have stopped it." She said she didn't know. She was supposed to. So it's important for us to constantly check our BP, because that you're on a high BP medicine does not mean, like you said, consistently you'll be on it. Times can change, fluctuate, that you need to stop or you need to still check. But then how do I know that I don't need to travel? I'm training back to the nurse. How do I know that I don't need to travel if I'm, on a BP drug? How do I know that
I
I should
don't.
step down from my traveling? So, like somebody once said, if I check it today, it's high. Check tomorrow, it's high. Next time, different days. At the end of the day, how do I begin to tell myself, okay, let me cancel my trip? At what point?
It's the duty of your medical practitioner to do that. There's a way
Okay.
we have to counsel you and tell you if the risk outweighs your traveling. You and your own normal self, nobody wants to die except.
Are you sure?
True, you want to die.
No, do you actually want to die? When you come now and I tell you, no, you're having a blood pressure of 190 over, let me say, 120. In fact, what is more peculiar is the systolic blood pressure. You can have the diastolic blood pressure of, the normal range is within 140 millimeter mercury down to 80 to 90 millimeter mercury.
When you say, you're calling English now, medical terms.
Okay.
The one
Systolic
The one
diagnosis.
up is the diastolic blood pressure.
Then the
One
one
down is the systolic blood.
okay.
And the systolic blood pressure, that's when the contraction the dilatation has taken place, the contraction has taken place, the heart is now relaxing. By right, the blood level is supposed to be going down, but whereby it continues to keep pumping. That's why the systolic pressure becomes a problem for us. And so people are like, how come I'm having 120 down and the up one is less than that, and they are still saying I'm hypertensive? Yes, we are more concerned about that one.
Oh, so the down one is the most important.
It's very, very important.
The down one is the most important.
It's very important. Yes.
The down one is the most important.
It's very important because that is when your blood, after the pumping action of that BP apparatus, by right, the blood level is supposed to be relaxing. It's supposed to drop gradually, but whereby it's still going up high, it calls for a quick action.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a signal.
So when you come like that, the only thing is that there is a drug they can place you on. And these antihypertensive drugs are given in 4 stages, just like he said. If you come the first time, it is given to you in 10 milligram. You might just say, okay, try it. When you come back after a period of 1 month and it's still high, 2 combinations will be given to you. And when it's still high, 3 combinations is given to you. But at that 3rd stage, if it is normal, it's okay, maintain this particular dosage. But a lot of people, once you're hypertensive, you say, I used it for my mother. They use the nifedipine, they use the furosemide, you too go and use it.
Which one do you use? Let me go and buy it. Not my own work, so the person will just give you.
No,
That's how we do it.
That's almost everybody's medical thing.
No,
in
not
Nigeria. That's almost everybody.
sorry, not everybody, please. Medical things. I wish we have this kind of program always, because this is something that the healthcare whatever needs to be given out. Self-medication is so much in Nigeria, and because of we self-medicate, we apply the wrong medication, and the casualty is 6 feet below. It's important that people understand that you need to always have a professional to speak with. The fact that you feel the same way I feel does not mean that the same application of drugs is what we should go.
We
No,
all have different
You should-
body types and
You should-
blood
should-
types and all of that.
consultation is good. And do you know funny thing? Sorry. It's unfortunate that people think that it's more expensive going to the clinic. It is more expensive
laughing.
treating to your.
Is that how you think?
yes.
See,
You
going
know,
to
a lot of-
going to the clinic. See,
don't go to clinic, we go to pharmacy.
that's
Diagnosis for
also
ourselves,
speaking. Sorry, that's also speaking with a professional. A good pharmacist should listen to you. If it is beyond what the pharmacist could treat at the point,
Should
the
send you
pharmacist
to
recommends you to the hospital or to the lab.
I don't even
In
think it's
fact,
right
most
to go to
pharmacies
the
are
lab.
even having diagnostic centers.
Yeah,
Are
because
you serious?
Yes,
Until easily.
most pharmacies
What?
like Nestaglad, like one he opened, they launched it yesterday.
we don't used to advertise brand. We don't used to advertise brand. Yeah. Don't call their name.
Okay,
I'm
so
not advertising, I'm just saying most pharmacy now they are coming with the idea of having a diagnostic center very
Which is
close
good.
to them.
Which is good.
You cannot just come and tell them I'm feeling this symptom, give me malaria drugs. They'll tell you no, go and run the test.
Yeah.
That is what most
I
of them are
noticed
doing
this
now.
like
That's
last
the
month
Yes.
because when I came back, I started having headaches. Me, I'm a very agile person. Like every day, call me, I'll be going, but I will move, I will stop because my head is pounding. So there's a pharmacy next to my office, and I went. I said, "Oh, give me Say, madam, you have to go and run tests. I need to know what is
Exactly.
wrong with you. So I went, and I actually wanted to buy malaria medication. I said, no, it's malaria. It has to be malaria. I went and ran the test. I told the lab scientist, I said, please explain this to me. She said, your typhoid is really high. I said, what do you mean typhoid is really high? I said, okay, I'll take it for a second opinion. Since they said I should run tests, I'll take it for a second opinion. So I took the results, went back to the pharmacy. I said, this is what I was given. So the guy said, madam, tell me the history of your food. How have you been eating in the past few months? I said, okay, I haven't been around, so I've been eating out. Everywhere I've gone, I have eaten outside for the past 4 months.
Wow.
Then he goes, okay, this might be
The
possible.
problem.
And with your symptoms, this might be possible. Run another test. I went to another place, ran another test, and it was really high. That was the only time this guy gave me medication. I'm like, what is this one again now? Before now, just come and buy. I say, mommy, this is how I'm feeling. She say, go and buy. Now,
No, it's advancing. It's advancing.
I like-
Liz knows why I'm speaking the way I'm speaking. I'm restricted because of where we are. She knows why I'm speaking the way I'm speaking. It's advancing. Medical science practice is advancing.
and I like the
Now, every facility you go to should know your history before application of drug. There are the drugs they call off-the-shelf drugs.
Yes.
When you come to buy off-the-shelf drugs, it's easy to give to you. You understand? But when it has to do with prescription drugs, before they could give you, that's why sometimes you go to a pharmacy, they insist that they should
Yes,
get a
the prescription.
doctor's prescription. So that they don't give you things that are not, because people have fallen victim to that.
Yes.
And if this awareness continue, it's important we're doing this so that people who are traveling should know.
Yes.
If there are prescriptions you get from your doctor, get them in advance
Advance.
so that you save people the cost of emergencies, because doctors could be contacted easily
Yes.
on the phone when you already have the drugs. You know, you could rescue someone when someone had made pre-purchase and have it, and all the person needs to do is speak to the doctor. Doctor will tell you, okay, take A, B, C, D. But when someone has an emergency, there is no A, B, C, D to take. The doctor is asking, and before you could drive from the location to get the proper A, B, C, D, because some of these villages you don't get original. Sorry to say.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Well, it is expected, that the festive period will be full of boisterous activities because, as it is, we always at this time, expect that, we have the increase of passengers, because on a daily basis, we already have passengers that pass through our airports, but, at this festive period, it is anticipated, we always anticipate that passengers will increase. So, we are up for it. Usually, we say that when passengers, want to travel, it's always good for them to prepare early. For the international passengers, you come 3 hours, before your boarding time, and then for the domestic passengers, 2 hours before the boarding time, so that, you could go through the check-in formalities, seamlessly. Not normally, everywhere, air travel at this time is very busy, and for passengers, that are traveling, we always, ensure that our airports are, comfortable for them, so that, when they come through the airport, they will have seamless facilitation. So for security aspect, we have also beefed up our security as usual, because during this season, we also know that there will be a lot of activities at the airport, so we ensure that the traffic flow is free, and seamless as well. So for passengers, that want to travel normally, we expect that, they should, plan their trips, ensure, that whatever they are, packing for travel, they are the ones that, should pack them. Nobody should pack them for them, their luggages, and all of that. They should ensure that they check, everything, that it's in order.
Speaking about checks, I still want to get something else because about this period there's a whole lot happening, and as much as people are hyper, some people are also getting depression. I want Coach Didi to talk to us about this status. What should we be thinking about getting us mentally prepared for the festivity. You mentioned competition some time ago when we talked. People should not compete. What kind of mental counseling do you give to people, especially women? Because I know you work with a lot of women. Do you give to them to guide them not to fall into depression, or do things that are crazy about this period?
Well, there's this very simple technique. It's called the circle of control.
Circular control.
Circle of control.
Okay, circle of control.
Like
okay.
Mr. Chuk said, you see, the thing is, most people try to do what they cannot afford to do. So when you know the difference between the things you can control in your life and the things you cannot control in your life, you see peace.
Oh, okay.
So basically, and of course for most women I work with, the major problems are anxiety and depression. Anxiety is excessive worry. Depression is excessive sadness. And usually these emotions are caused by people in their lives.
Oh, wow.
So when you learn to focus on yourself.
People or events?
People and events in their lives. People and events in their lives. It's the people that bring about the event somehow, So when you focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your words, your actions, what you do with your time, what you don't do with your time, you find your peace. When you try to control those outside your control, what your spouse does, what your mother-in-law does, what your son does, that is what causes the anxiety and the tension and everything. So the best thing to do during this time is focus on things within your control, your budget. Because Mr. Chuk said it. You see this worry. We can worry for Africa. That is why we are so stressed. Our nation it's already stressful. Being Nigerian, it's already stressful.
Yes.
The economy is stressful. So when you add more stress to it, you're not going to help anybody.
Okay, it's good to know that there are certain things we should be able to control. One of them is the stress. The cortisol that come out of it, I'm told, is horrible. Nurse can stress on that. But then, not too long ago, before this period, we had a program where we drew people from different parts of the country, and then blessings to my chief executive, he decided to run medical checks, just vital checks. It will amaze you that a lot of people fell victim. A lot of people didn't know they had high sugar. A lot of people didn't know. In fact, there were some people that the doctor says you can't go back to your base until we stabilize you. They didn't even know. They just kept saying I had dizzy eye. I never knew I had sugar problem and all of that. But I always have dizzy eye and all of that. Should we also be concerned checking generally? I'm not pregnant, and I know you deal with pregnant women. What are these necessary checks I can walk in and do with the medical facilities before I ever think of
embarking on a journey?
Yes.
Okay. You're supposed to know your blood sugar level, your blood pressure, and your PCV.
What is PCV?
Pack cell volume.
Oh, okay. I thought that was
that's the
I thought that was voter's card.
That's the level of your blood, the blood level, the amount of blood you have inside you. Because this thing, they'll work like friends. You find out a lot of people that are hypertensive, you discover they're diabetic. They are like friends.
Oh, wow.
If you cannot control one, the other one will trigger the other one. And when you discover that a lot of them, their blood level could be low. It's just a regular test. You just walk in. It's 500 naira. Some hospitals it's free, but a lot of people are not aware of this.
PCV, you call
yes,
it?
Yes,
okay?
yes. They just puncture you here, just the way you do your glycemic test for blood sugar level, and you get the result. If your blood level is low, you will feel very dizzy, and if your blood level is high, you will still feel dizzy.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And that's why at times, if your blood level is around above 15, they'll tell you
Donate blood.
Go to the hospital and donate blood because you start having severe headache and you think it's malaria. And you think maybe your blood pressure is high. But it's your
What's
blood
the
level.
most problem with somebody's blood? Why are you trying to
When it becomes too high is a problem. It has to be within the normal range.
Too much of everything is
It's
bad.
bad.
Menstruating
So-
every
so
month,
even
not
before-
enough problem. People will now be collecting someone's blood like that.
Maybe you're eating very well now. You're eating good food.
So we should stop eating good food.
No, I'm not saying you should stop eating good food. You continue to eat your good food, but there are times maybe when you see that the consumption of what you're taking is becoming too high. Like we in Nigeria, we hardly control what we eat. And there are some things that you eat, it actually stimulates your blood level. When it is within the normal range, you continue to maintain it at that level. But once it becomes so high, there will be a need for you to donate. So you can see somebody traveling now, he just fainted. What happened? Not that
So too much blood level can actually lead to somebody fainting as
yes,
well.
because
Wow.
you start having blurred vision, severe headache, all the signs and symptoms that you can think a person with malaria parasite can have. Excessive blood level will still give you that.
Wow, this is scary.
At least when does it check
And
your
at-
blood level?
I've never checked.
No, a lot of us we are not aware of that. Before
I've
you
never
travel,
checked.
you need to do that.
So we need to check here.
I do that always.
I check my blood level. I check my blood pressure.
And you
I
check,
check
your
my
sugar level.
Okay.
These three things, they are necessity.
Okay. Okay.
So apart from festive period,
No,
because
man.
now
You
me,
can
I'm-
still
when
check.
I leave here, I'm going to go and
Yes, it's a necessity.
But no,
I'll tell you where you go and check.
It's a
first.
necessity.
You close
You,
time.
by the
Chikuma, you're not
time-
going to do advert from here.
No.
You're joining a customer for yourself.
And by the time
No, okay, look, let's leave it.
And by the time it's too low, it is only through this check. When it is too low, we'll now tell you, please, you need to build up your blood level because it can still lead you into fainting
So too low you can faint, too high you can faint.
with headache and blood vision.
Either way.
Oh,
Either
problem.
way. So,
Okay. You know
Let's
what
cancel
what
the
she said?
holiday.
What she, no,
Let
it's
the
not about
travel
canceling.
again.
No, it's not about
even
canceling.
all the traveling, no.
Holiday helps. You know the holiday also helps.
Well,
You know we also saying
Depends on
that
where you are going
we're
to
saying
for
the
holiday.
negative part of the holiday. The holiday actually helps. You relax. You get closer to nature. You get closer to people at home. It could help you cure blood pressure. It depends on how you are making this holiday. Sometimes this holiday is pack your things and go to the village and see your people. But sometimes
get
people
there,
think they want to go. It's about
problems.
impressing.
Village problems.
Problems.
See, let me explain.
Problem everywhere.
Problem not they finish.
Yeah.
It depends on how you handle them. See, when people bring problem to you, it's because of how you've made yourself. If you know you can't afford to give people more than 20,000, and you give an impression that you could have 200,000, people come to give you demand for 200,000.
When you get there, start
So
calling
carry
you, say you
yourself,
transport.
carry yourself well. People ask people things that people can't afford because of the way people have presented themselves. How you sell yourself is how people will buy you. So it's important that if you're going home for Christmas sake, go home for Christmas sake, not for impression's sake. Who are you trying to impress? And like I said to people, no matter how you do it, people will always ask you for things. Whether you provide it for them or not, they will always ask. And even if you trying to solve that problem, you die, the problem will still be there. So first and foremost, you take care of yourself. I always say that the Bible that I read teaches us to love
Yourself
ourselves,
first. Then
love
you-
our neighbor as we love ourselves. So in loving my neighbor, I ought to have first of all loved myself before I extend that love to my neighbor.
If you don't know how to love
So
yourself,
you
how
don't.
do you love your
So
neighbor?
you can't go. See, a lot of things happen because people have refused to tell themselves the truth. I start by telling my kids, my family, everything. This is the much I could afford, and don't stress me. Everything available is not for consumption, so there is a limit, and people should work with budgets. No matter how you have it, what in all these things we do, what's your budget? If you have budget A, B, C, except in extreme cases, that's why you could say, okay, because of this is an unforeseen one, I could go do the other one. But if you have a budget, stick to your budget.
Even in the budget, you put
Yes,
miscellaneous.
I always tell people, even when I tell people this, I'd rather be called a stingy man than a broke man.
That's a
Preach.
good one.
Call me a stingy man. Either you don't call me a broke man, don't call me a foolish man. Call me a stingy man. Know that I have it, but I'm not willing to bring it up because it's frivolous. I can't spend on
You
frivolity.
can give to a point where you become even foolish.
Yes.
Right.
So people come. For as long as people know you are going to give or they're going to collect from you, they'll keep bringing demands to you. So you have to put limits to everything. This thing we talk about in Nigeria, Nigeria is a good place.
True.
If we harmonize ourselves, see, if we put ourselves well, we can live in harmony with everyone.
True.
In moderation.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take his pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start off the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
You know, if we look at it, Coach Didi is from Kano, right? You're from Cross River.
Niger, actually.
Niger, okay. You're from
Cross River.
Cross River. You're from Akwa Ibom. You're from Imo. I'm from Abia. And every day we sit down here. See, there's no relationship among any of us here. We sit down here, we talk, we drink, we relate. It shows that we can actually be peaceful. So I'm just trying to, pinpoint that, because oneness in the conversation room can also be oneness in the Nigerian setting.
Everywhere.
Let me take us back to what we're discussing, which is the medical checks. I want to ask a question here. Let's see how it gets the answer. I'll give my answer last. Do you have a first aid box in your car?
No.
Do you have it in your car?
No.
Auntie knows.
I don't have.
Do you have a novel? Hello?
My car? No, I don't.
Okay, yours truly, I don't have. So it's equal. But then we are here. We talk about first aid box. We talk about, being prepared before we take off. It's important. But then some people will ask, what is the content of the first aid box? So we're going to take a breather, find out the content of, or ideal content of a first aid box. And when we come back, the conversation continues.
Sometimes we can get carried away with enjoyment during the holidays
If you're just joining us, it's still Conversations Room and we're looking at pre-season checks. Yes, it's something we should do quite regularly, but then because a lot of people seem to forget, we're asking you to give yourself a Merry Christmas gift, end of year gift, New Year gift by checking yourself before ever you leave your location to a destination, or if you're still going to be in the same location, treat yourself to a good check. And let me start with the nurse here. Looking at first aid box, I always wonder, why do we have things like scissors, razor, and all of that inside it? Like the traffic people asking me to have a razor blade in my car. I thought it should just be the normal paracetamol and all of that. Why do I have that?
Okay, scissors and razor. If you cannot afford scissors, the medical scissors, at least you should have a razor.
Surgical blade.
Maybe surgical blade, prefer it. But how many people even know about surgical blade?
Okay.
A lot of people are just aware of scissors.
That's Merry Christmas gift.
Eventually, there are things that one don't actually plan for, but unforeseen circumstances can bring it. Why not?
You know what? I noticed you didn't give me biscuits.
I think you are too far now.
I'm not too far. Thank you.
She was talking.
Okay.
While you're traveling, if Mr. A doesn't have a first aid box, your own is available, they can make use of it. Talking from experience, maybe a lady might decide to put to bed while traveling.
On the road. That's a no-no.
And you can just stop. Hey, wait, moon ahead. With the aid of that your scissors and blade, I'm good to consult a perfect delivery for her.
On the road?
Yes.
It's unforeseen, that's what she said.
That's why I say unforeseen circumstances. I will now make use of the available resources to conduct that scissors will stand as something I will clamp this other cord. Somebody can use like a rope, tie this other cord, and I will use the razor blade, detach both of them, use the scissors, bring out the placenta. Yes.
Apart from the medical side, what she said, the razor blade is very important. Because I have heard a road safety personnel saying the importance of razor blade. And he displayed it. There was an accident that happened. And the seat belt became an obstruction.
Usually.
But based on the impact,
aspect,
it couldn't come out from the car.
So they have to.
So they needed something to, and you know how hard the seat belt is.
Yes.
So they needed something to get the person out from the seat belt. So the razor blade comes handy, or the scissors come handy. So it's important that all these things that we overlook, we have them in the car.
We put them in our cars. Yes, it's important. Okay, so for a mother who has small children, pediatrics, what should be in my first aid box as I'm going to the village? I need to know.
Like I already mentioned some already.
The Avomine.
The Avomine. Okay. A lot of them, they will just be vomiting as they are sucking breast. They are vomiting. So with that Avomine, you can just give them 5 ml, and that's okay. Especially for you say pediatric, which means small children.
Yes.
And you have something like paracetamol. Some of them, the stress of this bad road can they start running temperature. You have it inside your first aid box. Then you have to have flagyl.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Because of the things they are eating on the roadside, you see them purging up and down. You can use that one to subside it till you get a better treatment. Then some of them, due to the vomiting and the purging, they tend to become dehydrated, and that is why you're supposed to have ORS in your first aid box for them. When they get, you just inside of you're supposed to have bottled water that you're not supposed to open or touch it in case they become dehydrated. You mix it for them to drink to give them strength till they get to their destination.
All right, so our time is almost up. Like I'm being prompted quickly by my accurate.
And for one of the tests that is very necessary for you before you leave, skin test.
Skin?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Skin test before you travel. As you're going to the village, some of our village will have grasses, and some people are allergic to water. That skin test will be able to detect what you're supposed to avoid and the drugs you're supposed to carry alongside. Some people, little bite, they have reaction before they come back. So you're supposed to go to the hospital, do a skin test But it's only in a secondary facility you can get such tests done.
When you say secondary
What is
facility,
the primary and what is secondary facility?
Primary facility is primary health center. Secondary are all these general hospitals. We have our own limit where you can practice in a primary health center.
All right, so the conversation is almost all over. So on the party notes, your final words?
Well, to before one is to before
Okay.
If you don't need to travel, don't go anywhere. Just stay back.
If you're not informed, you're deformed. Now that you're informed, please adhere to instructions.
Beautiful.
Let's go and get first aid box.
I'm going to inspect your car. Because all of us, I'm inspecting everybody's car, including my own. All right, so we'll see you again. Please, whatever you do, the year does not end at the celebrations. Let's ensure that we celebrate and live for tomorrow. I'll see you again. Bye.